A festival with better lineups than Download? What's up, dudes? I'm back with another video. Today we are talking about a festival that a lot of people remember and hold in quite high regard. It is Sonisphere. Unfortunately, I never had the pleasure of going to Sonisphere. For me, it was either, Download or Sonisphere, and I was always more of a Download guy. But today we're going to look at the lineups and we can see exactly what they were about, why this festival was held in such high regard, and why it eventually came to an end. So Sonisphere was a metal and rock festival that took place between 2009 and 2016. It was actually a touring festival that took place across Europe between June and August. They had some huge lineups that rivaled and sometimes eclipsed the big festivals like Download and Hellfest. Today we will be mainly concentrating on the UK lineups. These took place at Nebworth. The original capacity was about 40,000 but was upped to 60,000 in the later years. So nothing to sniff at, and it was a considerable rival for Download at the time. One of the main things that set this festival apart from others was the fact that it had two stages that were facing each other. So you would never have, bands playing at the same time. You would watch a band on this stage, they would finish, and then the band on the next stage would start up. I think that's a really cool idea. That was one of the things and one of the reasons why I wanted to go. Unfortunately, I didn't get that chance, but it's something that we should probably see at a festival today, because I think that is a really cool idea, and that definitely set it apart from other festivals at the time. So let's take a look at the lineups. Now, in 2009, when the festival first started, it was a one-day event across Europe, but in the UK we actually had a two-day event. So let's have a look at it. I mean, talk about starting off strong. Linkin Park, Metallica, those are your two headliners. That is massive. This was a huge year for Download as well. I think that was one of the most stacked Download lineups, 2009, my personal favourite. But this is huge competition. I mean, just from the first year straight away, Download must have been looking over their shoulder thinking, hold on a minute, we've got something to compete with us here. Heaven and Hell, 9 Inch Nails, Limp Bizkit, Machine Head, although the way that's written, it looks like it's called Limp Machine and Biscuit Head, which could be two great cover bands. Code and Cambria, Anthrax, Taking Back Sunday, Lamb of God, Killing Joke, Alien Ant Farm. I mean, that's just the two main stages. The other stages, Bullet My Valentine, Avenged Sevenfold, The Used, Skindred, Alice in Chains, Feeder, Mastodon, Paradise Lost. Wow. I mean, what a way to kick off your first year in the UK and just say, there you go, that is one hell of a lineup. These days, that would pretty much be a dream lineup for some people. And the crazy thing is that in the mid 2000s to late 2000s, these were literally just the sort of, lineups we were getting as a standard festival lineup. We did not know how good we had it back in the day. And this is just a perfect example of that. Really, really good. Let's have a look at 2010. Okay, so 2010's poster. Now, again, they had big competition with Download as always. It's probably going to be the same for all of these posters, but their main competition was Download, and these guys were Download's main competition as well. So another big two-dayer. Rammstein, Iron Maiden. I'll zoom in so you can see some of the other names on this one. But just, look at how beautiful that poster is. Download team, are you taking notes? This is how you make a nice poster. But like I said, Rammstein the first day, Maiden the second day. Look, Placebo, Papa Roach, Anthrax, Lacuna Coil, Pendulum, In Flames, Slayer, Skindred, Medina Lake, nice little blast from the past there. And that is just the Apollo stage, their big main stage. And then if we go down from that, Alice Cooper, Motley Crue, Iggy and the Stooges, Gary Newman, wow, Skunk Anansi, Fear Factory, Soulfly, Sabaton, Bring Me the Horizon, Diran Gray, CKY, Funeral for a Friend, Gallows. I won't go all the way down. 65 Days of Static, Fight Star, Carnival. This again is just another absolutely stacked lineup. They really were doing their best to try and compete with the big boys. And they were doing, you know, I knew people that would go to Sonisphere, and they went to Sonisphere regularly. It just seemed like, I don't know, it didn't really seem the same to me. I just thought, I've gone to download, I'm going to stick with download. I think the other factor was I didn't hardly have any money back in the day. In 2010, I had no money, so it was either Sonisphere or download. I chose download this year, but, you know, going to either, you would have had a fantastic time, because once again, that's pretty much a dream lineup for some people. So 2010 looked absolutely amazing. Okay, 2011's Sonisphere with 3 headliners this time, you know, very much resembling certain other festivals that I won't keep mentioning, but, you know, really starting to look similar in the way it's laid out. So we have Metallica again. So they did have Metallica back, obviously, in quick succession. Biffy Clyro, Slipknot. I mean, that in itself is huge. You know, Biffy Clyro, look at that, hey? Headlining Sonisphere before they headline download. Metallica, Biffy, Slipknot, Slayer, Weezer, Limp Bizkit back again, Anthrax. I'll have to zoom in on this one just so we can see what we're looking at. Yumi at 6, Motorhead, Mastodon, Bad Religion, Cavalier Conspiracy, Architects working their way up there, Arch Enemy, Parkway Drive, Volbeat, the Mars Volta, wow. Bill Bailey headlining a stage. Very odd choice, but I mean, everyone loves Bill Bailey. Well, maybe. Opeth, In Flames, Sum 41, Kids in Glass Houses. I think I see Killing Joke down there. Paradise Lost, 2 of my personal favourite bands. 1 Minute Silence. Wow, bit of a blast from the past there as well. So, I mean, just every year, consistently, they were just getting really, really great lineups. And, you know, they were paying for these lineups. So yeah, I mean, you know, all the way from 2009 to 2011, people were probably thinking this is going to become a staple. They're going to keep competing with download. Let's see what happened in 2012. So in 2012, it was expected to go ahead as normal, you know, keep competing with the big boys. Festival, you know, looked like it was doing really well. Unfortunately, in 2012, it was cancelled and did not go ahead. This was due to rising costs, the economic climate. The promoter of the festival called it a hiccup at the time and expected it to, you know, come back in 2013. Did the festival return in 2013? No, it did not return in 2013. The organisers said they couldn't build a strong enough lineup. They did approach loads of bands and obviously had loads of bands that they wanted. Probably didn't get them at the time or couldn't negotiate, you know, money or times, or just generally, you know, couldn't get a strong enough lineup to put the festival on. So the cracks were really starting to appear. Obviously, the year previous in 2012, you know, that was a huge year for download lineup wise, so they had a lot to compete with, a lot of bands that they probably couldn't get, you know, because they were specifically playing download. And then of course 2013, a similar thing happened. They couldn't build the right lineup, they couldn't get the right bands, and you know, the cracks were starting to form at this point, and people were thinking, well, is this festival going to go away? You know, is there going to be a festival in 2014? Was there a festival in 2014? Yes, the festival did go ahead in 2014. So a 2-year gap, you know, people probably thinking there's no way it's going to come back in 2014. But boy, did this festival come back in 2014 with one hell of a lineup, as we can see here. 3 headliners: The Prodigy, who had headlined Download the year before, Iron Maiden, who had headlined Download the year previous to this, and once again, for the 3rd time at Sonisphere within their very short reign, they had Metallica back with a by request set where fans could vote for what Metallica were going to play, which is just insane. I'll zoom in a little bit more for the others. Him, Band of Skulls, Gary Newman, Deftones, Frank Turner, Anthrax, Ghost on there, Baby Metal, Alice in Chains, Mastodon, Devin Townsend, Gojira, Slayer, Dream Theater, Carnival, you know, Ailstorm, 65 Days of Static again, Sisters of Mercy, Therapy. I won't go through all of them, but wow, look at that lineup. I mean, you know, you'd be happy with that lineup pretty much at any festival, especially headliner wise and all those big ones on the main stage. I mean, I missed Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit are on there as well. Don't know why I missed that. But, you know, absolutely massive, and they probably must have been so happy to get the festival going once again. And I know that this one was well attended and pretty big, and I'm guessing people thought the same thing. They thought, okay, Sonisphere is back. Will we be getting a festival in 2014? No, unfortunately, the organisers confirmed that there would not be a Sonisphere 2015, and the festival would no longer be going ahead in the UK due to it not being sustainable. Like I said before, rising costs, not being able to secure, the right headliners or, just the right bands in general. So the festival itself, it did continue in Europe all the way up to 2019, I believe. But 2014 was the last UK version of the festival. Now, a lot of people were very sad to see this festival end, but there were a lot of culminating factors that brought the demise. Rising costs, mainly for the headliners, and the financial unsustainability combined with market saturation, of course, from other festivals like Download, and at this point Bloodstock was getting up there as well. Basically, they'd gone too big far too quickly. If you look at festivals like Bloodstock, for instance, they start small, they built a good, financially sustainable festival that can go ahead every year, and this festival just went way too hard, way too quickly, and unfortunately that was its demise. I think one of the questions is, could we have a Sonisphere in the current, festival climate? Things have changed a lot in the festival world since 2014. There are twice the amount of festivals catering for, really, really niche sets of music. Is there a space in between Download and Bloodstock? Some people feel that Download isn't metal enough anymore, and some people feel like Bloodstock is just purely metal. Is there something in the middle where you could have a Sonisphere that could have a little bit of both? Probably yes and no. I doubt it would be very achievable to have a perfectly good, financially sustainable festival that big to start with. I think you would have to start small and build your way up, and there are plenty of festivals doing that at the moment that will probably be much bigger and getting up to the 30,000-40,000 mark. I mean, take Bloodstock for instance, they're around 30,000 now, and people are clambering up the walls and they're selling out every year. So that festival hopefully will just grow and grow and grow. So yeah, is there room for a Sonisphere? Yes and no, but I would like to hear what you guys say about it in the comments, and tell me, is there room for another big metal and rock festival in the UK? Yeah, so there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm talking about Sonisphere, was bringing back memories of people at the time just saying they were going to go. I really wish, I had opportunities probably to go, and I should have taken them, but I just assumed that the festival was going to continue, and at some point I would end up going, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But it was nice to look back, through the amazing lineups. You could see they really did compete with Download in some instances. So yeah, interesting subject, but yeah, maybe I'll look at a few other festivals that don't exist anymore if you guys like this video. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks to my patrons who have been on screen. Thank you for supporting me and just helping me out of everything. If you want to join me on Patreon, you should come over there. I mean, there is tons of stuff you don't get on YouTube. I'm doing game playthroughs, monthly vlogs, and tons of other videos that you will not get on YouTube unless you join my Patreon. For everyone else, thank you so much for helping me get to 7k subscribers, a feat I wouldn't thought that I would have reached before the end of the year, but now I'm looking even further. So I'm really glad you guys are enjoying the videos, subscribing to the channel, and I just want to thank you all very much. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. I certainly did, and as always, I shall see you dudes in the next video. You should go and subscribe to my channel, just because. Come on, subscribe.